think it picks up good.
Yeah. Speak clearly and loudly. Okay.
You should turn it on and then come behind and be like, I'm here actually.
Oh, I already turned it on. Let's do it. Okay. Hey, it's
Hello.
Two Chicks in a Pod. But there's 3 chicks, and I will be over
It's 2 chicks in a pod and friends.
And friends, yeah.
And are you going to flip it up?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I don't know why, but it just like,
No.
Oh,
there we are,
that's
yeah.
Yes.
So, these are my new friends, and we're going to talk about how I met these said friends. This is Jessi and Chelsea.
Hi.
Chelsea's from Saskatoon, and that really
It is right.
that really screwed me up. I was like, Chelsea's from Saskatoon, Jessie's from Lloyd, and we all met through a mutual fuck up.
A series of unfortunate.
A series of unfortunate events. For, legal purposes, we are not going to disclose any names or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure people that know me or Jessi or Chelsea will be able to put it together pretty quick on who we are talking about. And we're just going to go with Smoke because he had an unhealthy obsession with that name because I have a cat named Smoke, and we'll get into that a little bit too further on, but he went through 3 cats himself and decided to try and name them all Smoke, and if that's not fucking weird, then I don't know what is. It's kind of, I think it's weird.
It was
yeah.
weird.
Why don't you, and especially since
One was
my
even
cat
red.
Smoke hated him. It wasn't even like they got along or anything. Like, she wanted to claw his freaking face off. So, because she was smart and she knew exactly what kind of person he was, so.
Okay, where do you want to start? Like, do you want to start who met him first, or do you want to start where this whole situation started? Like,
I think we should just start with how we met,
Yeah.
and that'll kind of
Okay.
say the whole.
Situation.
Yeah, so back on one of our podcasts, we discussed my Jerry Springer moment of showing up at his place and telling him to kick rocks. And that is when I met Jessi because he wanted me to call her. Just still,
Well, when you
what
came
a
over,
donut.
Don't test me.
Yeah.
first you came over to his house.
Yeah, I went over to his house. Jessi was there.
In his bed.
In his bed.
That was on episode 39, by the way, if you need a recap.
If you need a recount, yeah. So, Jessi was there. I freaked out on him, told him to go fuck himself, essentially, and gave him his key back. And then he wanted me to talk to Jessi, and I don't think he realized. He told me what an honest, nice girl she was, and I don't think he realized that we were going to go as far back as we did in both of our relationships, and then we realized that she was hanging out with him when we were full-on dating, and yeah, I guess
And I
he
was
sucked
not
his
aware. I
wee-wee.
was sucking that little peen.
little gaffer. Yeah, so that was the initial, and then because of our podcast, Chelsea actually got a hold of me through Instagram and told me more stories, and then Jessi and I went to Saskatoon a few weeks ago and met Chelsea, and now we're here telling our story because you picked the wrong girls to screw over, bud.
Definitely.
And yeah, we're just gonna talk about it because it's our experience. It's what happened to us, and we'll get into it a little bit here. And so Chelsea was actually the OG.
The OG, yeah.
She was actually dating him when him and I started dating. I obviously had no freaking clue because this man made it seem like he never dated. He had told me about Chelsea, never said a name or anything, but told me that he had dated one of his sister's friends, and that they basically, it was just a summer fling is what he told me. And actually a lot of the things that were in his house that were feminine products
We're all mine.
were all hers, and like we weren't even dating at that point. I think I just went over there because we were planning a ski trip. That's when we initially got together, was on that ski trip. And he was like, oh, if you're wondering about all that girl stuff in there, that's my mom's. She keeps her stuff here so that she feels like she's at home when she comes. And this Christmas tree, I bought this Christmas tree to like decorate my house for my mama because I want my mama to feel like she's at home when she visits me. That woman never even went to his house ever, his mom.
Never stepped foot in that apartment ever. So
Ever.
all that stuff was mine. So nice try though, but
Yeah, but like this is like the kind of like premeditated, and just to kind of give you an example of like how crazy of a pathological liar he is, that he like pre-planned to tell me all this stuff before I was even like romantically involved with the man. So it's like I didn't really have any like reason to question it, because at that point, why would he have lied to me? But like obviously, you know, he had
always
plans.
stress how important that relationship was with his mom. So
Yeah.
why would you question
how
that?
well he treated her and everything. Yeah, that he treated her so well.
Yeah, and then
Goes home every weekend to take care of her and her colonostomy bag.
that she does not have.
What? I didn't know
Colonostomy
about
bag.
that one. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You know that?
No.
Oh, I spent so much time talking to him. How's your mama? How's her bag?
Oh my god, no.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, I should have clued in, but, like, I heard him talking about it to other people, but he never talked to me about it. And, like, yeah, it makes sense that he would never directly tell me about it, because if I would have ever met his mom,
True.
I would have, like, realized, hey, you don't have one of these, and you never did, and...
Yeah, game over.
Yeah, and he'd always tell people how sick she is, and, like...
No, never.
And then he was telling other
healthy.
people that she was the one that was in the hospital sick with COVID after he had lied to me, pretended to be his mom, texting me saying that he was on a ventilator with COVID in Saskatoon.
Do you still have the text? You should almost bring those up, because the way that he messaged it and stuff, he tried to make it sound so much like it was his mom texting you. Do you still have those?
Hi, is this Megan?
And he spelled your name wrong, even though the name was like at the top.
Yeah, even like purposely spelt my name wrong
to make
like
it really look real.
yeah.
Yeah, bring some of that good receipts up, I think.
Yeah, so it was really...
But it makes sense how you guys wouldn't know, right? Because he comes to Lloydminster, and he just totally puts on this whole new persona. Nobody knows him here, so he can totally put on this whole new person that he is. Nobody's going to, like, fact check. Why would you? If he's going to say stuff, you're going to believe what he's saying. So
Yeah.
I, like, knew people, and obviously that knew him, so I'd heard stuff before. I was still dumb enough to go forward with it anyways. But I had that information kind of start to go off of where you guys didn't. So it totally makes sense. Like, you're going to take him at his word, so.
Oh, yeah, and he seemed like such a
So
sad
genuine, so
individual.
depressed.
He just needed a friend.
Yes.
That's what I thought. He just really needed a friend.
He definitely used his mental health on all of us to kind of
And his
keep us
job made him seem so trustable.
Yes.
Which is kind of the scariest part.
Yeah.
Like,
working with young women. Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. He said to me, he is currently hooked up to a ventilator at the hospital. He is having trouble breathing. He has the COVID variant. The virus is messing with his head. Is this Megan? He keeps asking for you. This is his mother. I said, yes, this is Megan. I'm so sorry to hear that. Yes, we had to come pick him up because he was too stubborn to go on his own. Maybe if he starts feeling better, you would be willing to talk to him on the phone. It may make him feel better. Like, now reading it, it's like, you were just like, he was
He's not
just
gonna
so
be talking
creepy.
that
so
well after
cringe.
coming off a ventilator.
Yeah.
Okay, he just had a fucking tube down his throat, supposedly.
So then I was like, yes, of course. I wish he would have, wouldn't have been so stubborn about it. Please keep me updated on how he's doing. I will pray for him. So that was Sunday. And then Monday, how is he doing today? At 10:05, I sent that to him. At 2:30, I'm okay, still alive. I said, where are you? How are you feeling now? I'm in Saskatoon. I want to go home, wherever that is. I was like, are you feeling any better or still the same? Worse. I saw the light.
oh my god!
Like, I've had tubes down my throat for past day and a half. I don't want to live anymore. This is too much. I can't think straight. I'm not as strong as I thought. I just wanted to see your face. That's all. If those were my last days, I just wanted to see you. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah.
And then I just kept saying, you're going to get better. And it was like, what if I don't? It's bad. I can't control my breathing. They said the vaccine antigens as well as the variant antigens are both affecting my lungs.
Where did you get this from, right? Just research.
I just want to be with you. Yeah. And then it said, just makes me sad. If I would have died, I would have never seen you again. That makes me really sad. Maybe that doesn't make you very sad, or you've already moved on. Aww. I'm not ready to not see you again. I felt like I was a goner, and you were all I could think about.
What a romantic.
And then he even said, my mom said I was asking for you. And then me, I'm like, yeah, I know, she told me. Like, ew!
Again, you didn't know. So
fucking my.
You wouldn't go to him.
Yes.
She did,
right? Yeah.
She still didn't go to you.
Yeah. So, anyways.
That's just like a prime example. That's like a really good example, though, of how elaborate his lies could get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very,
Scary.
elaborate. And, like, when you're, like, it's just, I personally, like, don't understand, like, how people can lie like that. But also, like, I think, like, there's obviously, like, something very, like, mentally wrong with him. Like, there's obviously, like, it's not just, I don't think he's just, like, a pathological liar. Like, I think there might be something
there's
else.
more to it than that. He definitely is a pathological liar. I think we can all agree on that, but I agree. Like, there's definitely some mental stuff behind that, but there has been for many years. He just refused to ever get help with it. So, and then he told us that he was getting help. We still don't know if that's even true.
Yeah, we
and
don't
it's obviously
know.
not working, so how do you help someone that doesn't want to be helped? All he ever wants to do is complain all the time, and he's been like that for a very long time, and so that's exactly what he was doing there. And he always plays the victim. It doesn't matter what's going on. Even
And
if
he
he's
really
faking it or
morphs
not.
himself to, like, whoever he's, like, hanging out with. Because, like, for me, like, I feel like for the most part I have very strong mental health, and he would always be like, yeah, I'm very strong too, and this and that, and he would always say to me, like, if you're ever interested in somebody else, just leave me and break up with me, don't cheat on me, just leave me. And then he would be like, oh, if we ever break up, like, I'll never beg for you back, I'll never be, because, like, I've had some exes that were a little hung on a little clinger and stalkery and, like, you know, like, yeah, exes that were still, like, you know, poking around, trying to poke around, like, months later and whatever, and he's like, I'll never be like that, I will never. Well, Christ, the day before, like, I found Jessi at his house, he was, like, sending me, like, the Mariah Carey, like, we belong together, and, like, I'm a better person when I'm with you, and all this fucking crazy shit, and it's
Messaging
like,
you he loves you when he told me he doesn't talk to you anymore.
Yeah.
From one extreme to the other. And exactly, like, it's funny though, because I think it just got messy because he was lying to so many people.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason why we finally found out. But, like, I just don't understand how you keep up with those lies and how you honestly think that no one's going to eventually put it together.
Well,
Like,
he asked us, again, let's reiterate, he asked us to speak to each other. So he
fucking, like, you dumbass, like.
But typical narcissist, right? He honestly thought that you weren't going to do it.
Because he told Jessi that we dated briefly in December and that we had broken up and then we didn't start dating again until May. So, like,
he told me till the end of, like, June. Like, I didn't even know you were dating in May.
Oh,
when he
okay,
ghosted me
June.
there.
Oh, okay.
Because I was hanging
ghosted
out
you.
with this man since January.
Yeah. And
we
like,
dated the
and
whole
he
time.
told me about Jessi. Like, he told me about Jessi. He told me about, like, this girl that, you know, he's like, yeah, this girl, she's like a single mom and she just wants to fuck me and, like, what's wrong with people, like, fuck, like, you're a mom,
What's
like,
wrong with me?
yeah, like, and so, like, this is what he was telling me, like, when we were, like, when he was training me, and, like, this was even, again, like, before we were romantic, so I was like, oh, like, obviously he doesn't, like, sleep around or anything if he's, like,
But
When we were still
down
together.
there.
We were still together.
yeah, and then, yeah, so when I started seeing in December, we went on a ski trip, so we had hung out,
Right, beginning of December?
beginning of December, yeah. So we had hung out a few times. He'd come out here. We'd watch the fights together and stuff. And then we went to Jasper together, and, like, there was, like, some chemistry there. And finally, I just looked and I said, "Are we vibing?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're vibing." And then obviously then we started like hooking up, and that's kind of when I considered us starting to date, because like I wasn't seeing anybody else, I wasn't talking to anybody else, I wasn't sleeping with anyone else. And so on that ski trip, he had actually hurt his knee skiing or snowboarding. And then he went and told everybody that he slipped outside of his vehicle on some ice.
Yeah.
Like that, like
In Lloyd.
In
Yeah.
Lloyd. So like nobody even knew that we were hanging out. And like I obviously had no idea about Chelsea, because he'd already told me that they had dated and broken up in the summertime. And that he doesn't date anyone. And, you know, like
This is why.
I had said something about like, because I was pretty avid into like working out, and then I got together with somebody, and then I kind of like got off track because they weren't into it or anything, and sometimes it's hard. So then I was like choosing to hang out with him rather than like going to the gym and stuff. And we were talking about that, and he's like, yeah, you know, like it's always like nicer to go with a partner. So at the time I was like, well, maybe he does have a girlfriend. Like,
I had
I
gone
don't
with him
know.
to the gym one time too, which was really funny. I think back in October, so it happened. I've been
Yeah.
there.
So he's like, yeah, it's like, oh, it's more motivating if your partner wants to go with you. And I was like, oh, maybe he does have a girlfriend. So I was just like, you know, chilling. And then it finally came out that he didn't. And then he actually kind of like invited himself on like a ski trip. I'd love to come with you guys. Just being like, well, I don't know when like my friend Jordan will be able to go again, so why don't we just go? Like, I love going to the mountains, we can just go. And so then we went, and yeah, that was kind of like when we started hooking up or whatever, or seeing each other. And then in March,
So in March, him and I, so we broke up technically, I guess, at the end of January after we hadn't spoken for 2 weeks. We finally broke up over Facebook Messenger. I'll just put that out there because he wasn't man enough to actually have a conversation, but that's fine. So we broke up at the end of January. We were still kind of keeping in contact like here and there. I'll also point out when we broke up, a couple days later, he came to me and he apologized for treating me like crap. And he also said, you know, like, I guess we'll get into eventually how and why we broke up, but that's whatever. And he said, you know, there's never been any other girls, even though I'd never ever accused him of any other girls or anything. So I kind of found that funny that he randomly brought that up.
yeah, like he projected a lot of like what he was doing, and like quite literally, he literally told us exactly who he was multiple times, but like in a joking manner,
Or by accusing us of doing it.
or by accusing us.
Yeah.
But like he'd always say he was such a terrible person, and he would beat himself up a lot, and like
part of it was like telling
So,
us,
like-
but also acting like the victim all the time.
yeah, and like his initials were in his license plate, and he even like I'm not gonna say his name, but he like said his first name Playa, last name 007 or whatever, or 007 that. And I was like, ha ha ha, like joking about it. And now I'm like, no, you literally were playing all of us.
Legit,
Like,
yeah.
you literally like told me exactly who you were multiple times.
Yeah, but again, like, why? Yeah.
So then
yeah.
they were.
So then we agreed. We're like, you know what? Let's meet up. Let's just hang out. Keep it casual. I'm like, we're not ready to talk about like stuff. So let's just hang out. So we agreed that we would hang out in Saskatoon. So he would come to Saskatoon, and we would just spend the night in a hotel because I didn't want him coming to my place. And so he mentioned this really nice hotel that we have in Saskatoon. The Alt, I can say that, can't I?
Yeah, the Alt,
Okay, the
yeah.
Alt. So yeah, so we spent.
That's not his name.
Yeah. So we spent just one night there. It was like middle of March. And that's actually how I found out about Megan. So we were out at a restaurant, and his phone went off, and it just happened to be sitting beside him on the chair that I could see it. And it said Megan Crawford came up on the phone. And I said, oh, I was like, who's that? And he's like, oh, just some girl from the gym. And I said, okay. And this is like 10:30 on a Saturday. And I said, so why is this girl from the gym calling you at 10:30 on a Saturday? And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I could tell. And then like it was kind of silent. And he's like, well, now you made it awkward. And I knew. I'm like, okay, whatever, just drop it. We weren't together. So I was like, okay, whatever.
You made it awkward.
Yeah, I made it. Exactly.
Yeah,
But let's
he
put
was
it back on
very
you. It was
good,
huge
yeah.
on gaslighting. So that's how I found out about Megan. Then later that week I asked him again. I'm like, just tell me. Like if you're dating her, hanging out, like just let me know. He would never admit to it, nothing. And he kept putting it back on me like, it was a fun weekend, but you acting like this, like now I'm just regretting doing it and da-da-da. And I just like made me feel like crap. And then typical.
Typical. Yeah.
And then, yeah, so then I just like, being a girl, I investigated a little bit more, and I looked into like Instagram and stuff, and then I
Yeah.
saw Saw Megan's Instagram, and I saw that you guys weren't friends on Facebook too. So I was like, well, like, there's the name. I was like, okay. And then it eventually came out in, what did I say? The end of May. I looked at one of your stories. I told you guys this. I looked at one of her stories, and it was Megan golfing. And so I called him out on it, and he flipped the fuck out. And right away when he flipped out, I was like, well, I have my answer. I didn't even really say much back, because I knew I caught him. And then that was kind of it. So, yeah, that's when we finally, like, stopped talking, thank God.
Yeah, was that when we were golfing with him? Like, was I
Probably.
there?
It was just you two, but I think, yeah, probably.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
when we went to Sandy Beach. And, yeah, like...
Of course, he did tell you about that.
Well, and
Tell
then
me-
you were also... So, like, I had asked him, he was storing his, like, bike.
Yes.
His street bike.
At my parents'
At her
place,
parents'
they were nice
place.
enough to keep his bike even after we broke up, and they knew he treated me like shit, but they're like, you know what, it's the middle of winter, we'll just let him keep it here for now. It was up to me, I would have, like, not kept it there and trashed it, but that's fine. But, yeah, so, and he told you that he was storing it where?
At
his buddy's
At his
place
buddy's place.
in
And I was
Saskatoon.
like, And, like, yeah. And he does have, like, a big garage, so I didn't really think too much of it. And, yeah, it was at her parents' place.
Yeah, the whole time, unfortunately, but...
So I wonder, like, what the hell would have happened? Because originally I was supposed to go down with him to pick.
So they came in, like, mid-April, maybe?
Yeah.
I think
No,
she
I know.
means, like, what was going to be the story for
like,
when
if-
she goes
like,
to your
where
parents'
we
place to
are.
get it.
Yeah, that's... Oh, I guess, hey? Because when he
Maybe
came
he
to
was-
pick it up, did he tell you that he was picking it up?
Yeah, like, I was supposed to go down and drive his car back.
Okay, and then...
And then it ended up, I think I ended up having to work or something happened and I couldn't make it down. No.
You guys got in
no,
a fight. He
no.
said you were
Was that the
abusive.
fight one?
That was.
We got
the-
into the fight and that
Is that
was like
what
when
happened?
we
Okay.
broke up briefly for like,
That's when he came crawling
week.
back to my friendship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right back in there, yeah. Yeah, how would that have worked? There's no way. He would have made up another
I
elaborate
bet you
lie.
he would have had a drive it to like his place to pick up from there.
Maybe, yeah, drive it. Well, yeah, but somebody would have had to drop him off at my place, like
Yeah,
at my
they
parents,
wouldn't have
right?
made it work. They're good liars.
True.
and you know what? And I don't even know if I asked him if it was before or after he picked up his bike where he had stored it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, I don't remember that, like, if I had asked before or after. But at the time, like, I didn't really have any reason to, like, be suspicious about it at all.
Yeah, totally.
So I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So then she started, listening to the podcast, confirmed that we were actually dating. And then it wasn't until we released the podcast 39, the Jerry Springer shit,
Yeah.
she ended up
I
messaging
saw that
me.
one, yeah.
And she messaged me the day before my birthday.
Yeah, like right before your birthday.
The day before our conference that we
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Speak
I didn't know.
Yeah, so
Right
then
after.
and then it was there that I found out like all the things that he had been lying about. Like that's kind of when I found out like that he was never on a ventilator. That was when I found out. So so this is like a really like this is really fucked up and you
Trigger
guys
warning.
trigger
From a
warning.
cheating story into something much darker.
Darker, yeah. So what?
No, I just said the time out loud. I'm marking timestamps.
How long has it been?
Oh, it's 25 minutes. No, I'm just marking it.
At 25 minutes now?
Yeah.
Oh, well, shouldn't we...
Do you like break?
Yeah, like part
Oh,
two?
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so like this is
Part
how we all
two.
met in
This
part
is a good
two.
shift for part two.
Yeah.
when it's
Because,
darker
yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So, okay, trigger warning for the next episode.
Trigger warning for the next video
Yeah.
when it comes to animals. So,